Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that trips up a lot of people when they're studying the Bible, the calendar. I mean, is there one new year, or are there two? It seems like a pretty simple question, right? But the answer, well, it opens up this incredible way of looking at time itself. So let's get into it and unravel this ancient approach to time.
So here it is, the central puzzle. Does the biblical year kick off in the spring, or does it start in the fall? Because, Scripture seems to point in both directions, which at first glance looks like a major contradiction. But is it really? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see how it's not a contradiction at all.
Here's our game plan for figuring this out. First, we'll lay out the puzzle itself. Then, we'll look at the two different cycles, the spring one and the fall one. After that, we'll find our foundation, our anchor, all the way back in the book of Genesis. Then we'll see how these 2 years actually fit together perfectly. And finally, we're going to ask what this ancient rhythm could possibly mean for how we live our lives today.
All right, so let's jump right in and lay out the core problem. The Bible gives us what feels like two very different markers for when the year starts and when it ends.
Okay, so on the one hand, you've got this super clear command that the year is supposed to begin in the spring. But then, on the other hand, there are these multiple references to the end or the turning of the year, and it's happening in the fall, right after the big final harvest. So which is it? I mean, how can a year possibly end in what's supposed to be the 7th month?
So let's tackle the first piece of this puzzle, the spring new year. What you're going to see is that this one isn't really about farming or seasons at all. It's all about identity, and it's all about memory.
You have to understand the context here. It is everything. This command was given at the exact moment of the exodus from Egypt. This was not a suggestion. It was a direct instruction from Yah, tying the start of their calendar, their whole way of counting time, directly to their redemption. From this moment on, this is where the month count begins.
So this isn't just some random start date. We can call it a functional year. Its entire purpose, its function, is to be a constant reminder of when Israel became a people, when they were set free from slavery. It's a calendar of identity.
And this is where you really see its purpose in action. This spring count organizes the most foundational feasts, the ones that tell the story of their freedom. You've got Passover, unleavened bread, and the countdown to Shavuot. You can really think of this as their sacred memorial calendar.
Okay, now for the other side of the coin, the fall cycle. And this one isn't about the people's identity. It's all about the land's productivity and the natural cycles of work and rest.
And here's the verse that throws a wrench in the works for a lot of people. The Feast of Ingathering, which happens after all the crops are brought in, is explicitly called the end of the year. Now, this isn't just some poetic phrase. The sources show it's a real calendrical marker. It signifies a point of completion.
And get this, the original Hebrew gives us an even bigger clue. The phrase is Tekufa Hashanah, which literally means the turning or the circuit of the year. So this isn't about starting a new month count. It's about acknowledging that a full cycle of work and production in the land is finally complete.
And this is why that fall turning governs all the civil and agricultural parts of life. I mean, it's just common sense, right? You can only declare a sabbatical year of rest for the land, or judge its yield, or even measure a king's reign after the year's work is finished and all the results are in.
Okay, so we have these two cycles. How on earth do they work together without just clashing? Well, the answer is found in the fundamental rhythm of creation itself, laid out for us right at the beginning of the story.
Now this is our anchor text, but we have to read it carefully. The sources make a great point that this isn't describing 4 neat, tidy, modern seasons like we think of them. Instead, it's setting up these paired realities. You have seed time and harvest. You have cold and heat. These are processes, they're conditions, not rigid blocks of time.
And this reveals a really beautiful natural flow. Life becomes visible. Work begins in the spring, out of Eve. It grows and matures through the heat, and then the whole cycle comes to its peak with the harvest, the completion in the fall. And notice the order here. Only after the completion does the land enter a period of cold and rest. And that's when the hidden preparation of seed time happens, leading right back to the next activation. The key takeaway is that completion always comes before rest. All right, this is the aha moment. Let's pull all these threads together, because this isn't a contradiction. It's actually a super sophisticated, layered system that was designed for a very specific purpose.
This is where it all just clicks into place. The two cycles aren't in conflict for one simple reason. They are not measuring the same thing. One is a redemptive clock, and it's all about the people's identity.
The other is an agricultural clock, and it's focused on the land's accountability.
I love this way of thinking about it. It's like two interlocking gears in a single, perfectly designed machine. The spring gear kicks off the counting of the months, always remembering redemption. Then the fall gear marks the completion of a full cycle of work, which makes rest and reckoning possible. One doesn't cancel the other out. They work together in perfect tandem.
But okay, let's be real. Why should any of this ancient calendar stuff matter to us now? Because this isn't just a history lesson. It actually offers a profound framework for rethinking our own relationship with time. I want you to just pause and think about this for a second. Our modern calendar is just a flat, linear race to the finish line, right? But what if our year had different functions built into it? A time to remember who we are and where we came from, and then a totally separate time to evaluate what we've actually produced before we rest and reset.
And think about the practical wisdom baked into this. This calendar literally builds in a necessary sequence. You work, that work is followed by a defined completion, and that completion then licenses a period of true rest. It's a powerful antidote to the endless burnout-inducing cycles so many of us are trapped in. What would that even look like in your life?
All right, now we really want to hear from you. How does seeing time in this way change your perspective? Let us know down in the comments below. And hey, if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend and make sure you're subscribed for more explainers just like this one.
Your support is what keeps these explainers coming, so thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.